Hello everyone, my name is Tony Brennan. I'm the founder, chairman of the board, and the chief technology officer of Sharklet Technologies. I've studied bioadhesion and developed products for bioadhesion during my 42 years as an engineer scientist. Recently, I retired after nearly 30 years from the University of Florida as the Margaret A. Ross Professor of Materials Science and Engineering, and where I developed the Sharklet technology. I earned my PhD in Materials Engineering Science 10 years after developing materials and devices for the dental industry. Today I'm going to talk to you about Sharklet is here to help. My entire career has been on bioadhesion, and this first image shows you orthodontic brackets being bonded to the teeth, which was the first thing I developed was an orthodontic adhesive. Bioadhesion is whenever you're either bonding to something that's biological or something biological is bonding to a surface. A second product I worked on was artificial crowns for your mouth, in which now it's going to be a permanent installation. And these were all ceramic, and you can see they're very natural looking. So my focus has always been on understanding how to work with the biological system in a natural way. This is where someone has not clean their teeth adequately using toothbrushes and polish. And so they have plaque built up on their teeth. These are called hard foulers on the teeth. You can see these teeth are not very healthy looking. The gums aren't healthy looking, and those teeth are going to be lost. The next image I'm going to show you is biofouling on chip hulls. This particular one, we call them hard foulers. They're barnacles, tube worms, etc. on the ship hull. And these particular things are very difficult to get off. And as you can see, they've taken over the propeller and the rudder of that ship. You can't even see a clean spot on the entire hull. A soft fouler is shown here. In this particular case, it's green algae. And anybody living near the ocean or some of the Great Lakes and smaller lakes in the world recognize green algae. It grows everywhere. The next one I'm showing you is how to get rid of biofouling. We see these Navy divers polishing the ship hull, and you can see the accumulation on that hull that they're trying to remove. You're seeing the dental hygienist polishing teeth, and they're using a high-speed brush similar to what the Navy divers using to remove the plaque and biofilm from the surface of your teeth to keep your gums healthy. So biofouling is something that's pervasive throughout the world. In particular, whales have barnacles on their back. They also have algae, they also have sponges, they have all sorts of biofouling depending on where the whale is and how old it is, how much motion it experiences. But it's just pervasive. In this particular one, we show the manatees, or the sea cow, which is very common in Florida and around the world in the warmer climates. And you can see the backs of this particular sea cow is just covered. In addition to sea cows, the sea turtle is also a very endangered species that we have here in Florida and around the world that we're trying to protect. You can see the barnacles attached to the shells of these sea turtles. This is not a healthy situation for the sea turtle. It even goes so as far as the barnacles will attach to oysters. So you think about that, that's truly biological on biological, all these are. And it creates problems for these things. The U.S. Navy hired me years ago to examine roughness and how it affected fouling. So I invented Sharklet after spending over 30 years studying dental plaque and then the biofouling on ships for the Navy. And what I found was there's a roughness aspect that's very important in determining whether something fouls or not. Sharks came about because I was testing some films in the ocean and found out that these films were fouling when I was using a very simple topography. But when I looked at sharks, I recognized that they have denticles or teeth-like scales on them. You can see how they're stacked with each other. So it's a very three-dimensional structure like the roof tiles on houses. The Sharklet pattern shows you how this particular pattern mimics the shark denticles. This is called biomimicry, in that it's mimicking nature's structure. Sharklet film is a micropattern that inhibits the attachment, spread, and growth of germs on surfaces. The micropattern is set up in diamonds. Each one of those features are only 1/20th the width of a human hair. They're 2 microns wide, and they're 2.5, 3 microns tall. And the longest feature in there is only 16 microns. So it's 1/5 the thickness of a human hair. If you shine a laser through the Sharklet film, you get a beautiful image of it. And this image shows you the natural scattering pattern created by this millions of features in the Sharklet. So Sharklet film is made by Flexcon in the US, and it inhibits microbial contamination. The Sharklet film is a germ barrier. And here's an example of it on a cell phone face. And we've got Sharklet on the right-hand half of this, and we've got smooth film on the left hand, and we had people use it. And then we took cultures of the left-hand and right-hand side at the same time, and that's shown in this dish in the middle. And this dish in the middle shows you that the Sharklet film has practically no germs on it, whereas the smooth surface is fairly well covered. And we had a 91% reduction in that particular case. We published this in a paper that's listed below. So it's statistically significant reduction of the amount of bacteria that are transferred between the film and these plates. That's what Sharklet does. It inhibits the microbial growth, the germs, and inhibits their transfer. How does it do it? Well, bugs don't get in because if you take the Sharklet pattern and drop a droplet of water on it, you can see the way I've indicated this in the cartoon. The droplet stays on top of the features. It doesn't go down into the features. If I zoom in on this and look at it again, I'm trying to show you that this water stays up on the very tops, not in between. And when it stays on tops and it's filled with bugs, the bugs don't go onto the surface. Now, that's the simplicity of it. And think of it in terms of polishing a car. When you polish a car with those chemicals, that polish, what it's doing is making the surface of your car hydrophobic, water hating. So water just beads up and rolls off the car. Sharklet does the same thing with no chemicals. Doesn't release anything, doesn't have anything added to it. It's just this microtopography based upon a shark skin. If you dry that surface off and some bugs get left behind, they get dragged down into the bottom of the Sharklet pattern, down into between the features where they don't spread very easily, they get a very difficult time growing, and most important, they don't transfer. So the next person who comes along, if that surface had dried out, they would touch the top of the surface, they wouldn't pick up the bugs. The bugs are down in the bottom. And those bugs are readily cleaned off that bottom by simple wiping cloths that have cleaning solutions on them. Here's a picture just to show you actually what it looks like. Here's the Sharklet film, and this is 200 by 200. That means those features that I showed you before were 2 microns wide. These are 200 microns wide. And it gives you a better vision, if you will. The dark semicircle on top with the white light in the middle, that's actually a water droplet. And the way the optics work, it makes it come out dark. But underneath, you can see the white. That's air. And it's just showing you that the water droplet sits up on top of the features. Here's one where it's 20 by 20. I didn't use the 2 by 2 because it's too difficult for you to see the air underneath, but it is still underneath on the 2 by 2. And then this one over here is interesting because what we do is we actually tip the film up and you can watch the water droplet rolling off the film in slow motion. But you can still see there's air under the water droplet at all times. That's how Sharklet is effective. So think about the opportunities for shark film to help you. ATMs, elevators, door push bars, bus seats, train seats, kiosks, airports, sports stadiums, gyms, hospitals. Sharklet film is an important part of your strategy. We all need to work together to inhibit germs. Sharklet's been shown effective at inhibiting attachment. transference, and growth of germs on many surfaces. Remember, Sharklet is environmentally benign. There's no chemicals released, there's no toxic materials used. Sharklet helps in so many different ways, and it can help get the world moving again. Please contact Tom Anderson or Chris Watson at the numbers below to see how Sharklet can help you fight the germs. Thank you.